right. We are hopefully live. Just need to get to the stream to pick up the chat.
Yes, indeed. We are live. Complicated business, folks.
Technical issues. Apologies. Technical issues.
Where's the stream?
When in doubt, blame Hake. Looks like we're back. Are you able to see the?
No, it still looks dead to me. Can you link me the?
Okay, yeah. Well, if you can type in youtube.com/@moderndaydebate/live, that's how I found it. And I don't know if you're able to.
Yeah, I got it.
Access these different super chats and things like that.
Got it.
Still.
Got it.
You got it?
All right, we're back. Slightly smaller audience. Sorry about that, everybody. It appears DEBATECON tried to squeeze in on our time. But we'll give a few moments here. They're hard at work over there, in case you guys were wondering. We got James over there in Dallas with Ryan as well. Nice. I don't know what it's like when you get those two together, but there's probably a lot of horsing around going over there. Yes, Robin, we know you still had super chats. I've got them here. They're not gone. I've copied and pasted them on the side, so not a problem. Don't sweat the super chats. I'm just gish galloping a little bit to allow people to trickle in, because I believe James is over there apologizing and asking people to come over here. Yeah, so once again, guys, don't forget tomorrow, first debate hitting the stage. We got Gitsit, Witsit, and Leo.
Hake. Somebody said it's the Great Reset. That's great. That's awesome. I love
it. That's a really good one.
Who was that? Spoiler alert. Nice. I love it.
I just want to see if we can stall a few moments and wait for the numbers going up. So we're getting viewers coming back. So I'll just ask Hake, DEBATECON.
Yes, sir.
Day 4, we got November 4th and 5th. What debate are you looking forward to the most?
You know what? I liked the sound of that that debate from the guy who's normally a flat earther. So I know that there are some serious people who don't appreciate him or me or Alex Stein, and I totally understand that, but I do look forward to that one.
What about you, Mark? What debate are you looking forward to over the weekend?
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to Leo, because Leo's just an absolute champ, and
Leo's really tackling like 4 or 5 debates this weekend.
Yeah. So not really any one particular one by Leo, but just all of Leo. He's absolutely fantastic.
Is that Leo Filius?
Yeah, Leo Filius. Yeah.
Nice. I've talked to him
feel
before.
Like that very first debate with Gitsit and Leo is one heck of an opening debate for the weekend. I'm gonna need a dictionary and a thesaurus and all kinds of stuff to get through that debate. Those two have a vocabulary that is almost musical.
I am looking forward. Someone says the David Wood debate, and I'm certainly looking forward to that one as well. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Matt Dillahunty, of course. We got a couple. Robin, including Robin, saying looks like she's looking forward to Matt. I don't know how many
versus Aaron Ra. I mean, that is an awesome. That's going to be really, really fiery and good. That's going to be a really good debate.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. I'm not sure how many more people we're going to get trickling over here. So let's just hope that we've got enough people here that we can still have a good time, and that most of those who sent super chats in will get them read and get to hear them here. So I believe the last one we left off was the $15 minimum wage. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. And I tried to jump in there with, I know that you guys wanted to move on quickly, but I tried to jump in there with Mark Reid, Atheism, mentioned about the fact that you kind of have to raise minimum wage to accommodate the higher cost of living.
Mhm.
And I had mentioned earlier in the debate, without using the term, price inflation caused by minimum wage.
All right. My apologies for getting Gitsit's name wrong. It's Gitsit Witsit. I keep saying something else apparently. Thank you. I see spin. I don't mean it by any disrespect whatsoever. It's
I
an
think it's
awesome
Wits
name.
that gets it. Yeah.
Witsit gets it. Okay.
Mhm.
It sounds cool either way we go. So $15 minimum wage. Yeah. So same cloth, $2. Hake defines socialism.
Socialism is mama spirit, controlling people and redistribution of wealth.
Okay.
I think that's good enough. If that,
Yeah.
hopefully that.
That's
Yeah, I
pretty
think
quick
the
to the
means
point.
of production sort of is in there somewhere, but sure.
Yeah, nice.
Robin
I hope this
Webster.
is $2 worth.
Well,
That
Robin
is
Webster wants to
exactly
see
$2 worth of definition. That's exactly $2. Not
Price
a cent
inflation.
more, not a cent less. Exactly $2.
That's the Goodwill Dictionary version. All right. So, Robin Webster, Hake. So she sends another $2. Is this your brain on Fox? And then she says she's glad you're a minority.
Nice. Yep.
That one had some bite to it. Sorry about that.
My main source of news, believe it or not, is CNN and the Skim, the ladies at the Skim who compile information from Reuters and other mainstream media. But Fox News, cool. It's all right.
Someone wants another definition from Hake. The Ware Lemur, $4.99. Hake, define commie capitalism.
Yes, thank you. Commie capitalism is when these big corporations and this big government are kind of in bed with each other, and they're on the same team against real men like our greatest president, Donald J. Trump. They were both on a mission to dethrone him from the presidency. Get your votes in, and the implication is vote against him, vote him out. Commie capitalism is opposed to Christian capitalism, which is more just mutual benefit, whereas commie capitalism is, oh, don't let these little guys compete with us. Bring in more regulations that we can afford to absorb, but the little guys, the up and comers, the innovators cannot. That's what I call commie capitalism.
That definition had a lot more in there. So, I see Spin, the gentleman who corrected me on Witsit name, sends $5 who says, HR and Mark, do you think it's important to challenge one's own beliefs and consider alternative perspectives? Why or why not? The last question was Hake, so Mark, you go ahead first.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why we sort of, in these forums, people bring up ideas that are way out of left field, like the idea of sort of owning nothing and the idea of total ownership of things. We examine them and process them, see what sort of conclusions we can make. This is why forums and debates and people talking about it is so important, because whatever, I see it as whatever is best for humanity in general, not just the people up the top, but also the people down the bottom, is important. And that's why sort of the thing that Hake brought up about own nothing and stuff, it was brought up as something to discuss because it is so far out of left field. But I don't think anyone's seriously endorsing it. That's just something made up by sort of the people that want to see these conspiracies and things. But at the end of the day, really, we've got to sort of make some objective and some analytical evaluations of the consequences of what we put into practice. And there's people that are specialized in making those predictions. So I would rather listen to them who have sort of, can predict what's going to happen when we do these things rather than others.
I guess that's for me now, huh? The different ideas and debate and discuss. Was that the gist of the question?
Yeah.
I am for freedom of speech, especially for freedom to tell the truth. We don't tend to have that nowadays. That is shunned. It's shamed. There are things called hate speech nowadays. It's creeping into people's mindsets and even laws in some cases, and it's a real shame. So I do support hearty discussion. I don't think it should be eggheads and experts making the decisions on policy. They can have their little input, because sometimes they do bring in interesting information that you may not be aware of, that can bring light to the situation. But so often nowadays, statistics and all that stuff is used for propaganda. It's facts are not truth. People lie with facts. There are alternative facts that lead you to the bigger picture. What I love about President Trump, our greatest president, Trump, that is that he was a big picture guy. He told the truth on a big picture level. And then the little nitpickers pretended that he was lying about things that were actually largely true.
Yeah, he didn't tell the truth a lot of the time, actually. And, he's currently being prosecuted and has been found guilty for manipulating his financial statements. So you've got a really weird idea of the truth when somebody has literally committed fraud to inflate their properties and devalue it in other circumstances in order to gain an advantage in the system. And even he said he took advantage of the system, but what he did bypassed sort of loopholes and went into illegality, which is inflating your value for the banks in order to get loans and deflating it in order to avoid tax, which is illegal. So he's not just a liar, he's also literally a criminal and can no longer run businesses in New York because of the criminality. So, I mean, you can shake your head all you want, but this just seems like you have rose-colored glasses where it comes to this man, because he has been found guilty of it, and that's the truth.
No, you have poop-colored glasses towards this man, because you're thinking that this judge and this
No, I don't.
This liberal black female attorney general of the New York who's bringing a civil lawsuit against the president, it knows more about what went on between those businesses. He paid back those loans. What fraud? He paid back those loans.
Yeah, so it's fraud when you lie to banks about your value in order to get loans. That is against the law. Now, whether or not you pay back the loans, that is still against the law. So what it seems like you're advocating, and anybody else would be in prison for doing that because it is fraud. Because what you're doing is, when you're going to pay tax, you're devaluing it so you don't have to pay tax on the properties. And that's exactly what he did. So in all of this, Trump did break the law, and no one should be above the law. And in actual fact, you're wrong about Trump. I think he did some good things. I think his idea of a space force and things like that were actually pretty revolutionary. It's a good idea, and I will acknowledge when someone has a good idea, even if I dislike their other policies. So you're wrong about that, Hake.
Wrong about what?
So, real quick, since it was Mark that interjected on Hake's answer to the question,
sorry, yeah, my bad.
Hake, go ahead and finish the question, please.
Oh, by and large, he was hated. President Trump was hated for telling the truth. When he first announced in June 2015, he told the truth about they're not sending their best. They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime. They're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. And that was that was a factual statement, and he withstood boycotts and all kinds of things. NBC and all these businesses turned on him, and he stood on the truth and didn't back down. And it was so refreshing. And he's just a real guy. So they hate him for that.
Okay. Next question. So who's Rich Purnell, $1.99? What would either say about WEF and New World Order?
What? What would who say?
Who would either of you say about the WEF and New World Order?
Well, I mean, WEF is just a forum to discuss financial stuff. It isn't sort of the big monster that it's made out to be. It has leaders from around the world come together to discuss, because if you like it or not, we're now living in a global economy. What happens in one country will affect others. Look at the instance that I used with Russia, the war in Ukraine, and Russia's stopping the gas flow to the rest of Europe. We all affect one another. It's pointless to bury your head in the sand and pretend like these things don't affect one another. I don't advocate for, like, I don't know what you mean by new world order. If you're talking about a one world government, I'm not necessarily an advocate of that. I don't think it's beneficial at the moment. Could it be beneficial at some point in the future? I don't know. We'd have to look at that and see if it is in fact beneficial or not. But this whole idea that that's what they're discussing to do is just nonsense. It's conspiracy theory rhetoric that has no basis in reality. Nobody is trying to implement a one world government at the moment. Sorry, they're just not.
Go ahead, Hake.
Oh, okay.
Hake?
So World Economic Forum, I don't know much about them. I do see them as one of many groups who follow this religion of liberalism and push their false ideals towards society. I don't think that it's pure economics, and their sense of economics is kind of off. They're liberals, you know. And this new world order stuff, it has been a push towards United Nations, the European Union, NATO, and NATO kind of imposes these false liberal values that should have nothing to do with military defending of one another, such as you have to embrace this LGBT equality notion on these different countries. So I think that centralized governments at a big scale are largely a mistake. They're a place for great levels of injustice to happen. I think that you want local control, where you can confront the authority who's making decisions and actually potentially have some say on what goes on in your town, in your county, in your state, as opposed to trying to reach the state government or the federal government or the United Nations that's trying to accuse the United States of racism and human rights abuses against blacks. It's pretty ridiculous. Some of the most corrupt police have been federal police officers. You know, these groups, FBI and all that stuff, CIA, and they've been immune. They can lie to us, but we can't lie to them. They've been immune to being held responsible. So I'm not for that stuff.
I think some of the most corrupt police officers have actually been local sheriffs, to be honest with you.
Maybe so.
Okay. Robin Webster's back. Feel like this one's got a little bit of teeth on it.
Nice.
No pun intended. You want it, Hake?
Yes, please.
Were you raised in the South by wolves?
I was raised in Southern California by maybe if you want to call parents wolves in sheep's clothing, you could say that, but they meant well, you know, just as every parent, every father and mother does their best. And I had a grandpa from Virginia, so I guess that's the South, but he wasn't really into the the Confederate thing or anything like that. Although I do sympathize with the beautiful South, and shout out to the wolves as well.
So we're gonna backtrack just a second, just a couple questions quick, only because it was IC Spin's first ever super chats today here on Modern Day Debate, and he was trying to get our attention in the regular chat to clarify his question. So I remind the question was, do you think it's important to challenge one's own belief and consider alternative perspectives? So I told him, go ahead, clarify with me and I'll say. So
Nice.
He wants to know. I assume
Okay.
he. I apologize if it's not a he. If you believe it's important to challenge their own beliefs and be open to being wrong, basically open to being wrong, and they think you misunderstood.
Oh, okay.
So I guess, are you guys both comfortable with being wrong?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I love when I realize things that I totally thought otherwise or did not realize. And the pride does get involved, and you don't, sometimes you don't want to, you cling to you identify with a belief, but overall I love that stuff, of course.
All right.
I'm a skeptic, so I always consider that I might be wrong about things. I think that there is the possibility of being wrong about almost everything. I think that all you can do is use rationality and critical thinking to try to come up with the most reasonable conclusions you can. And there is a way through logic of doing that that seems to have the best outcome.
All right, thank you, Mark. And IC Spin is very grateful that we revisited their question. So totally worth it.
Nice.
I'll give you one guess who the next question is, Hake.
Robin that one
Webster.
gal who's supportive.
Yeah, she's big time. Wants to know, Hake, differences between socialism and communism.
Communism is socialism at the butt of a gun, is what I've heard from the expert Bill Lockwood, who appears on the Jason Lee Peterson show last Tuesday of the month, typically. Or at the end of a gun, not the butt of a gun. At the point, at the barrel of a gun.
Okay. Robin Webster, $2. I don't understand this one. So if this means something,
okay.
Can either pull smoothbore tank loaded with milk?
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
I think it's a trucker thing. I think, can either of you pull?
Yes.
Either pull a smoothbore tank loaded with milk?
So Robin is a trucker that carts milk, basically. Nice. So I take my hat off. I take my egg noggin off to Robin, who can haul milk way better than I possibly could.
Okay.
Like I wouldn't even try to compare myself with Robin Webster.
Right. Can you do it, Hake?
I can do anything I set my mind to, and if she
right now where you sit, can you do it?
No.
Okay.
Not a real man, then. Not a real man.
Apologize for the name here. Uwali Blue Vegan, $2. MDD thrives on platforming. Oh, should have read that one first. Yeah, we don't thrive on platforming those kind of people. We thrive on platforming anyone who wants to come have an honest discussion from anywhere of any walk of life. Otherwise, it would just be sitting here, a bunch of people talking about the exact same thing. It wouldn't be very interesting at all. I mean, I see this kind of comment in the chat when I'm just a viewer of modern day debate, and some people are all get mad at flat earth debates. Meanwhile, 600 people watching. So they're a little fun. You guys can't lie. I know you like them. Maybe just a bit. Robin Webster again, $2. PragerU is an indoctrination of hate and white supremacy.
That's irrelevant to that's irrelevant to Dennis Prager's point about religion and leftism. And I don't think that's exactly true. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know why we'd trust a conservative radio talk show host for, anything to do with that. I mean, he calls this thing a university. He's not a university. He's a radio disc jockey. That's what he is.
Disc jockey? I don't know if that's accurate. But anyway, he's a talk show host.
Really? Are you sure that Egghead is accurate? I'm not sure.
You could call him an egghead. I wouldn't be. He might even agree with you on that.
Right. I'm just saying that if you're talking about sort of creative language, you've used your fair share of this debate as well. Yeah.
So for Hake, is calling something a religion an insult?
No, not necessarily. Like when I called liberalism a religion, because they worship women, they worship self, They worship their emotions and believe things that they imagine in others. You saw my opponent imagine that I believe different things, like I'm sad that I'm no longer in charge of society. That's called either playing around and making fun of me, which is fine, or if he really believes that, that's believing your imagination.
Okay. Cool Byko back again with another $5 for Hake. Do you advocate for the curtailing of CEO wages to prevent inflation?
Does that work? Not necessarily. I believe in freedom. I don't think that I think that these CEOs wouldn't be such fat cats necessarily if they had to compete more with these little guys who are stifled by commie capitalism. I could be wrong though. Maybe everybody would do well.
Yeah, it's just weird that you sort of oppose wage increases for the people that need it the most, and you'll approve it for people that need it the least.
By force, wage increases by force, like I said, it increases price inflation, which it just increases the cost of living effectively.
But you just said you don't oppose it for CEOs and people at the top.
Whatever, because that's a price cap. That's anti-freedom.
All right.
Nice.
Let me find my spot here. So Cool Byko comes back again, another $5. So, yeah, not to oversell Robin, but Cool Byko has been active with us tonight as well. Hake, should people making fun of? Mark, this one's a little poke at you. Almost, it sounds like you.
Oh, go for it. Yeah, no, I'm all about that.
At
yeah,
Hake, should people making fun of baldness be torn apart by bears?
You know that reference?
Yeah,
I don't know the reference.
Okay,
but the chat's been going
from
on
the Bible,
also
in the Old Testament. I can't remember which book, but what they made fun of an old man's baldness, and they were torn apart by specifically she-bears. It was she-bears.
Okay. The chat also was going off earlier, and I don't know if it's an inside joke or what, but they were commenting about hair and Hake's hair. And
oh yeah, it's an inside joke. There was a black caller who called into the Jesse Lee Peterson show. I'm on his network, and said Hake has the best hair on the internet, and he was really hyped. And you know, blacks are very entertaining. They come up with instant meme worthy catchphrases, and I'm not going to complain about it.
Okay. More super chats coming in. Here we go. Ulawe Blue Vegan again, $2. JLP likes men. Hake, has he called you pretty yet? Oh, I should have read that one.
I think that's a bit. Yeah, I think that's a bit.
Yeah, that one was
contentious.
Yep. Sorry, I was copying down a new super chat that came in, and I just started reading out the side of my eye. We'll just skip over that one. Spot now. Right. Okay. So Robin Webster wants to ask Hake for $2. Another definition. Define critical thinking.
Critical thinking. I don't know that I've ever used that term. I don't know that it's such a real thing. You should examine yourself and your assumptions for sure. So that may be part of what people mean by critical thinking, and use logic rather than assumption and imagination and emotions.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, I mean, basically, it's just using logic and rationality. Like when you're talking about what's logical and rational, you're talking about sort of what leads to necessarily to one conclusion. That's basically critical thinking. I don't know if you've sort of looked at philosophy a lot.
I have not looked at it a lot. I question the notion of thinking for oneself. Do we really think for ourselves? I've wondered about that a little bit, but that's maybe more philosophical.
Who's supposed to think for you? I mean, if you're not thinking for yourself, who's thinking for you? Who else is supposed to think for you?
I don't know. Like it's sort of a free will question. It's an interesting question, where thoughts come from, and how we cling to beliefs, and things like that.
Well, that's epistemology. Yeah, that's the study
Okay.
of where your beliefs come from. Yeah.
Nice.
All right, you good to carry on, Hake?
Yeah.
Okay. So next one, I'm not sure. I'm gonna say it, but I don't know what it means. Cool Biko, $2. Israelis equals Palestinians. Sorry, I screwed that word up.
Israelis or Palestinians?
I don't know.
I wish them both well, man. It's a rough situation.
I think someday we might have some debates for that, I think. But right now, I think maybe it's a little warm of a topic. But IC Spin will come in with another topic cleanser, as we'll call it, for $1.99. Off topic. Do we live on dirt? Or I think there was some emojis here, and it's supposed to be, do we live on a dirt ball?
Yes, definitely. Ball Earth. Absolutely. I'm a ball tard forever.
What about you, Mark?
Yeah, oblate spheroid, sure.
Yeah. Amazing Asia.
I better hope I do. I've debated the subject a few times, so you'd better hope so, or else I'm just a liar.
Amazing Asia, $1.99. Just putting their 2 cents in to say Hake won.
Nice. Appreciate it. Everybody's a winner in their heart.
I see Spin back again. This time not the full $5, just $4.99. With an actual definition here, it looks like copy pasted. Religion, a noun, the belief in and worship of a superhuman power or powers, especially a god or gods.
That's what they make. The Mark, that one Mark Ruffalo guy said, "Oh, I met something God is a black woman," and they're making women and mothers gods, and it's a shame. I decide who lives or dies. It's evil.
We're almost there. So we got Boss Man Squeegee, $10. Just pre-reading, okay. Hake, are you in favor of a complete capitalist society? If so, how would we protect against monopolistic actions done by companies that we, the people, would not have any control over?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if I'm for quote unquote complete capitalism. Capitalism is a tool that can be used for good or evil. That's why I say commie capitalism versus Christian capitalism. And much of the Christianity is not right. I don't know if the companies were not allowed to get in bed with the government, would they be able to become monopolies? I don't know. Maybe we can break up some of these oligopolies and encourage ownership and allow for the right of ownership of your property, your land, and all that stuff.
So I kind of agree with Hake on this, actually. I think that the biggest problem is the use of money lobbying the government. So I've seen this sort of documentary called Saving Capitalism, where a capitalist was looking at what we have to do to keep it going, to keep it sustainable. And the problem comes with a cyclic effect, or a cycle of companies making profit, lobbying the government with that profit, then changing regulations to make them more profit. And that sort of is a cycle of money to power, to money to power, to money to power, that sort of really makes it unfair. So I'm sort of in favor of a mixed economy. I do like capitalism, and I do think it's beneficial in terms of innovation. Competition does drive innovation a lot of the time. But I do think it needs to be regulated so that people who are making money have less power in society, that they can't leverage that wealth into political power.
All right. Just the emoji was a pizza, not a ball. So it was asking if we lived on a dirt pizza. But Icy Spin got the answer they wanted.
Only if the
regardless.
pizza's rolled into a ball
Yeah, they just wanted to know what your thoughts were.
with fire in the middle or magma.
I would argue that the Earth is not made of crust with dirt on it. Last question. Same cloth, $2. Hake, what do you disagree about JLP?
I disagree when he calls me beta. I say alpha.
But
That's
don't
about
you
it.
follow him?
There's different
Aren't you
things that
sort
he
of-
says that I don't understand. But anyway, what were you
Aren't you
saying?
part of his stable? Doesn't that make you sort of beta by your own definition? That you sort of
I guess
tag
so.
along behind him?
Well, I'll just to wiggle out of being beta, which there's only either alpha or beta with him. I'll go to the Vox Day thing and call myself Delta, which is like a worker bee type of a man.
Right.
But yeah, no, I mean, working for somebody doesn't make you beta necessarily. It's good
Why
to
not?
own your own business, of course. But you know, people are in people are all in all sorts of situations in life. You can be a homeless bum and then turn into an alpha and just be working your way up. You can't necessarily judge the homeless bum as a beta just because he's in that situation.
But if Jesse Lee Peterson tells you have to do something, do you do it?
I ponder it and then I do it of my own
Beta!
volition, my own alpha volition.
Oh, right, that's how that works. Okay.
I've never said, "Oh, I'm alpha," in like trying to seriously say that I'm alpha. I tend not to try to make that claim, any claims.
Robert Wells in the chat doesn't super chat, but it's only because like he caught me on something that's like, oh my god, I can't believe I said it now. Earth is dirt on a crust, isn't it? Actually, it's just not bread.
I was thinking about
Robert
that.
Wells is like Earth is dirt with crust on it. It's okay. You're right. It is. You're right. You're right.
Technically correct, which is the best form of correct.
Yeah. I did say it that way. All right, gentlemen. Thank you so much for the great debate. It was a good time. Even though we had a technical difficulty there in the middle, I don't even know what happened, but I'll just blame James because, I mean, he's not here. So
I think another couple of super chats came in.
Oh, really?
Well. Yes.
Oh, yep. There, look at that. Okay. Well, luckily they were big ones, so they stayed hovered for me. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get to those. No one left behind. Good call, Mark. Thank you so much. I would have.
No worries, mate. No worries.
Samir Farzane, $5. Digitizing money would have many benefits, like reducing theft, fraud, tax evasion, but would give total control to Gov. What's your thoughts? A lot of questions went to Hake. Let's start with Mark.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that digitizing money does have a lot of benefits, but there are drawbacks as well. The inflation problem we're talking about, money is already essentially digitized. It just has some sort of value that's sort of come out. But yeah, I think it is a cost benefit thing. I think that I don't think that the way that we transfer money between banks and things can be done with any kind of physical respect. Like imagine having to wait for a physical thing to get there in order to draw upon your account, it'd be ridiculous. So I think the benefits do outweigh the hindrances, but we've got to keep in mind that that money has to have some sort of something solid to back it up. At the moment, it's basically the value of the country that is printing the money, but we've got to be cognizant of that if we devalue the money too much, that might actually outdistance the worth, and then you have worthless currency kind of thing. Like I think what China's doing at the moment, which is sort of printing money ad nauseum, is probably going to bite them unless they can build an infrastructure to support the value of it, which is what they're trying to do. But we'll have to see how that turns out.
I agree there. Oh, wait, was that?
I was handing it to you.
I agree. There are big concerns about the backing of the money. I think that people can be valuable. People themselves can be valuable, or a drain on society, depending on not just how old they are, but just how they're raised and all that stuff, whether they're committing crimes or whether they're working and doing stuff good in the world. And that contributes to the growing of the economy, I think, because people create value. And at one point in the discussion, Mark Reid said that sometimes these people do great for, like the landowners did great necessarily for the expense. He may not have meant it at the necessarily at the expense of those who don't own land. That's not necessarily the case. It behooves decent people for everybody to do well, for things to be fair. And the problem with fairness in a digitized currency is that a corrupt government, which there's always going to be corruption in any government, it has the citizen by the guts, if you will, to keep it clean, and can or whatever company can do that, can just debank you effectively. We've already seen that happening to people who say banned things, even in America. And so it's an interesting situation right now. It's a danger of sorts, for sure.
Right. Ryan is in the chat. He has landed in Texas for DebateCon 4. So anyone else who is in that Dallas area, make sure you head over there to see James, Ryan, and all the gang. Except for, well, at the very least, the three of us, where we are where we are. We have another super chat. A couple more here that have come in naturally here. Robin Webster dunking another $5. Hake, no hate here. I believe you have chosen the wrong boogeyman to fight against. We are all just apes, all the same, and equal. I think they meant equally immature, and they give you a peace sign.
Nice. I appreciate you, Robin. And the boogeyman that I really believe is real is the evil that works in me, in you, in everyone. And each person has to check himself or herself, even when battling it out with disagreements like this. Because, like the Christians are not perfect, or else they would still be large and in charge.
Awesome. Hey, Mark, you want to do a definition?
Sure.
Mark, please into the break for $1.99. Mark, please define the Great Reset. Because we just spent 4 hours trying to do that.
The start of the debate without saying you missed the start of the debate. Right. So the Great Reset is a buzzword regarding three main things. These are three things: greener growth, smarter growth, and fairer growth. So it's just a way to do a recovery that focus on technological development and change of industry into the fourth industrial revolution, basically making things more sustainable without waste and pollution, and making more equitable outcomes for people, over the course of things. It's got nothing to do with the social things that Hake has, and nothing to do with any of these things. That's all it's about. It's very vague. But if you want, just watch the introduction. I go through all of it. I had even a slideshow, so yeah, it's all in there. I defined it pretty thoroughly, wouldn't you say, Hake? I mean, that was pretty thorough.
Yeah, I liked that information. I think that we would be remiss, although it has nothing to do with the definition, were we not to mention that it has been said by like Klaus Schwab or something that some of these people, maybe Nikki Haley, maybe Justin Trudeau, are World Economic Forum little star graduate people in these different governments around the world. It's worth at least mentioning it. We would be remiss for not mentioning it on this video stream.
Well, did you watch any of the video? I mean, all of the speakers from the World Economic Forum is available on their web. Did you watch any of it?
I listened to one thing out of from their discussion about it was during the virus and the climate crisis thing. They were talking about getting help to people, getting it more efficient, and all that stuff. I did not watch any of what you're talking about.
Okay. Well,
So
I mean,
the question
if
was
you want to
for
find out what
Mark.
they're
So Mark,
about,
if you could close the question for me right here.
yeah, so it's all up there. They're basically talking about how we do these three things, implement these three things, because we foresee problems coming up with things like pollution, with things like you know, like I brought up, like young people not being able to, in any possibility of owning their own home, unless they're in a sort of very, very high up rung of the ladder. If they're a middle income earner, they still won't be able to avoid their own home with the way that inflation is going and sort of the way things are happening. So that's what they're discussing. And just because people bring up ideas doesn't mean they're implemented or they want to do it. It's just a forum for discussing it. So the Great Reset was just a buzzword for how we're going to recover from the COVID crisis and make things better for our society. That's all it is. It's just a buzzword.
All right. Last super chat. IC Spin $1.99. Questions. Who can we trust? What are your sources? It's a softball to whoever catches it. Go for it. I don't know.
Well, I answered the last one. Go for it, Hake, and I'll answer.
I suggest trust, but question your own common sense when you're looking at things. You don't have to, you're as smart as the experts, as JLP says. In many ways, they can give you information that you may not know, but they don't necessarily have the sense to come up with the right solutions. And don't just blindly trust a doctor who tells you anything. Be willing to question the doctor. Be willing to question whoever. It's your life, and to entrust your life in the hands of a politician or a doctor or a preacher or whatever guru that you may believe in is ill-advised. Keep your wits about you. Stay present.
All right, and with that message, that's where we'll end things off. So, real quick,
well, I just want to quickly say, my sources. I sort of get them from.
Hake, I will let you. Or, no, never mind. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't too Hake. It wasn't.
You're right.
Yeah. So I usually get my sources from economists and the people that have actually studied this kind of thing. And Hake's right. You can't 100% trust them, but that's why we have a process of peer review, so all of the experts can go through. The thing is, you wouldn't, like, while it's fine to question a doctor and get a second opinion, you wouldn't go out and ask somebody down the street what you should do about your medical condition, nor should you. And you shouldn't rely on just your own judgment, because somebody that has trained all their life to be in medicine is going to be better for you deciding what to do for yourself. So I think that this whole distrust of experts is really misplaced. You wouldn't, just sort of leave somebody to fix your car that has no idea what they're doing. You go to a mechanic. You wouldn't leave your IT to somebody that has never worked in IT. You would go to an IT specialist. We can't possibly know everything. There's so many different specialities out there. So we have to specialize. That's the current, we have to. And so you have to go to somebody specialized in what you want information about. And so I would go to university papers, reputable institutions that have a history of providing factual results, and places where I can get the information that I need. I don't think just relying on my own judgment is a particularly sound way to go about getting information.
All right, and with that message, we'll say our goodbyes here to everyone. So first of all, those of you who found your way over to here after the other stream miraculously and mysteriously just ended, thank you so much. More than half of them came over here and found us, so they were very interested to hear the rest of what you guys had to say. Hake, where can people find you?
TheHakeReport.com. I do have a YouTube channel as well as Rumble and other platforms. I'm on Twitter, The Hake Report. I really appreciate you guys. And I'm also the producer of Church with J.C. Lee Peterson. As Mark Reid, Atheism, mentioned, I am on JLP's network.
So, Mr. Mark Reid, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm hanging out at my channel, Mark Reid Atheism. I usually do theology. I don't do sort of sociology a lot. So this was a really good debate, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much to James Hake and to Modern Day Debate. Yeah, so if you like to see debates, I'll debate all kinds of subjects. I will do conversations and discussions, and yeah, I generally enjoy myself over on my channel. So come along, have a laugh. I'm also doing an after show just where I can chill out and decompress. So everyone's more than welcome to come in and join that if they want to give their opinion. All I just ask is people be respectful of one another and you know, have meaningful conversations. So yeah, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for your time, and yeah, this has been a blast. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Yeah, this was a great one. When it blacked out for a second, it was very disappointing, but I'm so glad that everybody came over here. Jan, $1.99. Hake, is the Earth only 6,000 years old?
I
Yes or
don't
no?
think that I'm necessarily a young earther. I don't know, but I don't think I'm a young earther.
All right.
So I'll say no, I don't think so. I wasn't there.
Not a
but I don't think so.
yerfer. Not a yerfer. Okay, that's at least there you go. That's something I can appreciate.
All right.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
In any case, both these gentlemen are on the internet all the time. You guys can check them out if you want to talk to them some more. You can leave comments in their chats. But in the meantime, we're gonna end things off here. Mark, as he said, is having an after show. Mark, if you'll have me, I'll come on over. I'll hang out.
Yeah,
I
sure,
put
sure.
the
Everyone's
link
welcome.
to the after show in the chat here too for anyone else who is interested in coming over and saying hi. And yeah, thanks for the great debate and DebateCon 4 Dallas. So if you don't have your tickets, I will be in the chat all weekend watching these live debates. And the first one goes live in just less than 14 hours from now. So have a great night, everybody.
Thank you.